Welcome to everybody to our workshop, Mindset of the Entrepreneurial Brain. This is a topic which we received a lot of attention from our community on. And just to quote George Bernard Shaw, he said, "Progress is impossible without change. And those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything." And I think this is a quote that is very applicable to the topic of conversation this morning. We are very excited to have you at our workshop and very grateful that you joined us. So my name is Liesel van Rooyen, for those of you who haven't met me yet, and I will be the moderator for the session this morning. We've learned that entrepreneurship is a scary, wicked problem from previous workshops that we held over the previous couple of weeks. And there is clearly a need for us to further abstract the fundamentals around some of the topics that came up. This workshop will help us clarify and simplify and give the working entrepreneur an opportunity to tell us what their wicked problem is related to mindset. Some of you may have attended our previous workshops where we introduced the entrepreneurial brain. Just quickly, Craig will talk a little bit more about this in a moment. The entrepreneurial brain is our framework for the development of entrepreneurship through a community of practice for entrepreneurs, as well as providers of enabling services. We are very passionate about this, and Craig Terblanche, our host and chief entrepreneur at EXO Futures, will provide you with a brief overview of the entrepreneurial brain framework in a moment. Following that overview, Emma Alcarote, whom we'll meet in a moment, she's the MD at One Circle, will provide us with more context on the entrepreneurial mindset and of the pathways of the entrepreneurial framework. So we'll understand better how the mindset sits across the framework and the emotions of the entrepreneur. Craig, I'm handing over to you for the introduction to the entrepreneurial brain framework.
Awesome. Thanks, Liesel, and great to see so many of you here. A number of familiar faces and lots of new names on the screen. This is really exciting. And let me start sharing my screen and so that I can take you through the introduction to the entrepreneurial brain. Liesel, as you were talking, I was thinking that we need to change our framework to your framework. The entrepreneurial brain is your framework, everybody, for democratizing entrepreneurship. So what are we trying? And I actually try to change it, but it's an image in this thing, so I wasn't able to change it quickly. So what are we trying to do here? We're really trying to contextualize the challenges that entrepreneurs have in democratizing entrepreneurship. And what does that mean? You know, that even that term has been challenged by some of you along the way. It means that we're looking to, on the one hand, increase economic inclusion. So make it easier for people from a financial inclusion point of view. But on the other hand, you know, get the economy working, make it easier to develop for economic development to succeed. So it's not an easy thing to do. It's a wicked problem, as we've learned. And what we're saying is we're following some of the principles that we've learned from exponential transformation, which is to have a massive transformative purpose. So this is a purpose that I truly believe in, and it's a purpose that you should all assimilate to and believe in as well. And it should attract a tribe. And that purpose, that massive transformative purpose, is to democratize entrepreneurship in Africa. So that's what we're trying to do. And it's really to make entrepreneurship more accessible, more understandable, and to simplify it. Now, we've been accused that this framework or we've been told that this framework is a bit complex. Well, I think that's because entrepreneurship is not a simple thing, but we are trying to simplify it with the framework. So the elements of the framework are, basically, we see entrepreneurs having emotions, and initially we saw these kind of as phases, but actually those emotions can occur at any time. So there's fear, enlighten, adapt, solve, and transcend. as the emotions that entrepreneurs feel. And then on the other hand, they follow pathways to develop the solution or the product or to solve the problem that they're trying to address. And those pathways include mindset, team, and practices and resources on the one hand, and they include customer skills and solutions on the other hand. We've had workshops where we've looked at these buckets of pathways in separately previously, but what's come out is that mindset is really important to all of you. So let's just quickly consider the phases. So the phases are, firstly, the fear phase. The fear phase is the fear of change, the fear of the unknown, resistance to flexibility and adaptability, a limited brain plasticity, and a lack of courage to explore. The enlightened phase is the awakening to new possibilities, discovering new opportunities, understanding new technologies, adopting a new mindset based on exponentiality, abundance thinking, and your own massive transformative purpose. So I'd encourage you to find your why and find your own transformative purpose along this journey. Then the adapt phase is fueling creativity, generating ideas, experimenting and learning what works and what doesn't in a particular context and from the current frame of reference, testing the pitch, even disrupting yourself and pivoting through further learning and improvement. The solve phase is then to prototype potential solutions, validate them for the customer, product market fit, and continually improve through customer value attribution and tenacious improvement. And then finally, the transcend phase is to launch and grow your customer base and scale your business with the right offering and enhanced market access. And as I said, these could be seen as emotions as well, because even though I've been an entrepreneur for many years, when I come across certain things, I still have some fear from time to time. And I need to, get beyond that and approach it from an exponential possibilities kind of perspective. Cool. So I'm not going to go into all of the details of the rest of the framework. Suffice to say that we focus today on the way you think and the mindset pathway. Just to quickly reiterate, the way you work is about skills, practices, and your team, and the value you offer is about customer resources and solutions. All of these sticky notes that you see on the board here are really just concepts that we've captured for further exploration, for further understanding, for you to have a frame of reference to ask questions and to explore what you might need. But in terms of mindset, Liesel, am I supposed to go into the detail? No, I'm not. The mindset is really just about the clarity of purpose, perspective, frame of reference, and the intentionality that you have. So, the extent to which you approach things with an abundance mindset, with an open-minded perspective, and the extent to which you believe that any problem can be solved if you approach it with the right mindset. Thanks very much, people. I'm really excited, and really just to emphasize, this is a session where we want to get as much feedback from you as possible on which of these concepts are you seeing as inhibitors, which of them will help you, and we'll go into more detail about how that's structured in the breakaways. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Craig. Well, entrepreneur mindset. And Emma, please also do a thorough introduction of yourself, if you wouldn't mind. Thank you very much, Emma.
Thanks a lot, Liesel. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Craig. I'll introduce myself after I set some context, because maybe I can see some scared faces after they saw the canvas that Craig shared. So look, in a nutshell, we all know that the entrepreneurs' mindsets they're wired differently than everybody else. And, all of those pathways that we're talking about, if we think about the entrepreneur's mindset, like pathways and windows, and those windows, they're like windows of opportunity, I would call them. They will open unexpectedly, they open briefly, but they only open when they are under conditions of risk and uncertainty and excitement. So I would say, yes, a successful entrepreneur has certain characteristics. A successful entrepreneur is fearless, thinks outside the box, so thinks differently than everybody else. A successful entrepreneur is willing to fail. Failure is not a bad thing, you know. Actually, we enjoy it. We have the drive and the determination as entrepreneurs. So the thing is that some people are born with all of these, right? But the great news that I'm going to share with you now is that a lot of those characteristics are actually acquired, and they are acquired skills. And most of them, they are more around the mindset and your attitude towards things. So, you know, there's the latest neuroscience research have shown that things like conscious habits and mindfulness trainings, they can actually help rewire our brains, and they can be more conducive to entrepreneurship. So we can't say like this person cannot be an entrepreneur or he will never be an entrepreneur. I would actually say he doesn't have the mindset to become an entrepreneur yet, but they can train themselves. So, you know, we used to think earlier that our brains are fixed. This is what you have, that's what you're born with, you're either this or you're that, but this is not true. As Craig said, it's more around neuroplasticity. So neuroplasticity, as the word sounds, it's in the neurons, right? So it's more in the brain, but it's also the plasticity of it. So it's not that easy to shape, but yes, you can shape it. And it's like switching things on, right? We can switch it on, but it requires effort. So on a more basic level, this means that we become very good at the things that we do more often of. So if we exercise our brain and our mindsets more often, then we become even better at things. So some of the things that we need to keep in mind are those neural pathways that Greg has showed us. They can be actually created. So you can create the right pathways in your brain and for your mindset or for your entrepreneurial mindset. But the bad news is that they can also be eliminated. What I mean by that, the more you do of things, the more you have the right attitude, the more you have the right approach, the more you have of those great positive, conducive pathways, the more you have of the negative thoughts, the doubts, the fear, etc., the more you have pathways that are conducive to basically nowhere. So the stronger we exercise our mindset and our brain to think in the right manner, the more we have the stronger the pathways actually are. So those pathways are actually creating habits. So we create a good habit or we create a bad habit. And when we create a good habit, we repeat it and we repeat it, and we eventually will win. Because as they always say that the good always wins. So those good thoughts and great mindset will always win, because this is where we will start seeing the good impact on what we're doing, on our life, the success that this is creating, and we will want more and more of it. So, and this is what we are discussing today, and we will discuss more of it in the breakout rooms, is that we actually have the power to change things. And this is the right mindset that we need to have as entrepreneurs. And we have more power than what you actually think. So do entrepreneurs think differently? Do they have a different mindset? Yes. But the great news is that you can literally train your brain to actually have that right mindset. But what entrepreneurs have a lot of is dopamine. And you know, there's a saying that entrepreneurs, they have a dopamine energetic mind. So they have a lot of this chemical tendency to do two things: to be more creative than other people and to channel their energies towards their goals. And dopamine is like, it's a chemical reaction. It's that rush that you feel. And some people actually call it the molecule of more. So you want more of it. You want more of that feeling of satisfaction. You want more of that success. And just a simple example, you notice sometimes when you get into that coffee shop where people are actually lining up to get that nice cup of coffee, and you get that aroma and you feel that rush of, I also want that. I also want that cup of coffee. I enjoy that smell. And then it makes you happy, right? And that's exactly how entrepreneurs are feeling all the time. They have that rush of creativity. And this dopamine actually, which could be triggered by a chemical reaction, which means we can train ourselves to actually have more dopamine, helps us as entrepreneurs to connect things, to take them and connect them in a way that makes sense to us. And when we connect things in a certain manner, it actually starts making more sense in our own view, not in other people's views maybe. And it can lead to new opportunities. And this is where we come up with those ideas. They are different to everybody else because nobody else saw it. So on Airbnb, they saw that people actually can share other people's bedrooms in people's houses and stay in strangers' houses. People thought it's a crazy idea, but they saw something that nobody else saw. And Uber said that strangers are gonna take a ride in other people's cars. People thought as well that they are crazy. It's a crazy idea, but they saw something that nobody else could see. And this is what we are saying, is that how to keep that mindset triggered in the right direction, how to train ourselves, and how to see things that are different and that other people cannot see. So if we take a step back and we think that, everybody says, to be an entrepreneur, you really need to do something that you are passionate about. So what does that mean? That means that you need to do something that is consistently putting you in that state of high, yeah? So what I mean is, you need to do that something that triggers dopamine for you, that puts you in the right mindset, or you train yourself to be in the right mindset. Because this is when you start seeing things differently. And one of the things that like a last message for you before the guys actually introduce themselves, is that the mindset, and especially for an entrepreneur, is a powerful concept. It's so powerful because you have full control over it, right? That's one of the few things that we have full control over, is what happens over here. So, and the mindset is actually what Craig calls the pathway to action. So if I have the right mindset, I can get things done because they are within my control. But it's not an easy ride, because it's going to be like a roller coaster. And in order for you to reach that action and to get to your goals, you're going to go through a roller coaster of psychological safety. So which means you're going to have the times when you are very fearful and you're not sure what is the right decision. But then this is where the plasticity comes to mind. This is where you start training yourself on what needs to be done, how am I going to look at things, how am I going to do things differently. And then you start adapting. So I take that idea and I pivot it. I adapt it a bit. Maybe it's too adventurous. Maybe it's less adventurous. Maybe I need to make it more commercial to make more money, whatever that is. And then I start to adapt it. And after I do that, if I apply that mindset, the entrepreneur mindset, and I carry on and I carry on pushing, and I'm so excited, and I can see things that other people cannot see, then I'm on that growth pathway. So this is it from my side. That's basically my story on how to simplify what we are trying to do, and to tell you that, you know, it's not an easy ride. Everybody says that, you know, we're under pressure, we're entrepreneurs, we need to create jobs, etc. Yes, we need, you know, the economy depends on us. Yes, we need. But you know what? I want to do something that I really love. I want to be in that mindset where I'm on a high the whole time. I want to do things right for myself first, and then for everybody else. So I'll introduce myself briefly, and then I'll ask the other guys who are facilitating the sessions just to give us a 30-second brief about them. So hi, I'm Emma. I'm the CEO of One Circle HR. We are an online platform that connects businesses directly with HR consultants. It puts me on a high because I just love the fact that I'm able to connect directly with the business without having to go through big brands, etc. And then to create opportunities for people. I worked in corporates for more than 20 years, and then I gave up. I gave up when I felt that I was in such a senior position that I was surrounded by what I call the happiness vampires all the time. And I let go of that. And then I started my own gig, and right now I'm an entrepreneur, and I love working with Craig and everybody else. So I'm going to leave the floor to Liesl to tell everybody to introduce themselves. And thank you, and I will see you in the breakout rooms.